President Obama focuses on key economic issues this week, including the stimulus package and mortgage foreclosures. He's wrapping up a long weekend in Chicago. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Chip Reid is there. Good morning, Chip.
Well, good morning, Maggie. There's big news this morning on the car front. The president has decided he's not going to appoint a car czar to oversee the restructuring of GM and Chrysler. Instead, he's going to keep it very close to the Oval Office. He's going to appoint a federal panel overseen by his top two economic advisors, Larry Summers, head of the National Economic Council, and Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner. And on other big economic news this week, the president turns his attention to the millions of Americans struggling to stay in their homes.
After a weekend at home in Chicago to rest and recharge, the president this week will unveil his plan to stem the flood of foreclosure.
We obviously have a major problems with foreclosure, problems with people living on the edge, and problems with home values around the country just plummeting.
The plan is expected to include giving bankruptcy judges the power to modify mortgages so they're easier to pay off, and giving mortgage lenders assistance if they agree to change loan terms. The cost, initially estimated at $50 to $100 billion, now looks like it will be near the bottom end of that range, as one senior administration official told CBS News, quote, "You can modify a lot of mortgages for $50 billion. Meanwhile, three major banks and mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have agreed to a moratorium on foreclosures till March 6th to give the administration some breathing room to put its plan in place.
And before the president announces that home foreclosure plan, he still has to sign the stimulus bill. He'll do that tomorrow in Denver. Maggie?
CBS's Chip Reid in Chicago. Thank you, Chip. Joining us now from Richmond, Virginia is the Republican House Whip, Congressman Eric Cantor. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Maggie.
Let's begin with the president's housing bill, since we were just talking about it. Unlike the stimulus, will you urge your fellow Republicans in the House to support this?
Well, Maggie, I think, first of all, when we're looking at the housing situation, we ought to all be aiming for the fact that Americans should have every opportunity to achieve the American dream and own a home. We should also do everything we can to make sure that those who are in their homes stay in their homes. But when you're looking at the policy here, you've got to start with the fact that 93% of America's families are current on their mortgages and, frankly, are out there wondering, who is going to pay for this continued succession of bailouts. Homeowners right now are suffering under skyrocketing property taxes, and if we put the bill for $50 billion plus on top of all the bills that families have right now, you may very well be set to encourage more foreclosures. So I'm hopeful that we can set up a plan, frankly, where lenders can modify mortgages according to some type of federal guarantee that allows buyers who qualify, that allow homeowners who qualify to actually stay in their homes. We just cannot continue to pay for the kind of things that this administration thinks that we can. So I'm very concerned about the direction I see us going, but I know that this president has continued to say he wants to work with us, and I hope we can get it right. We're on the heels right now of the almost $800 billion stimulus bill, not having any real knowledge of what's in that 1,100-page bill, and frankly working to make sure that the public's right to know is realized.
But Congressman, it's clear that Americans are begging for help with foreclosures. Corporations are begging for bailouts. Can the Republican Party accept that there are situations when large-scale government intervention is necessary?
Well, there's no question that the last stimulus bill that passed last week, the nearly $800 billion bill, had some programs in it that we support. I mean, listen, for infrastructure projects that are ready to roll, that we can create jobs within the first 12 months.
But everyone opposed it. Why? Where's the bipartisanship? Are you afraid of being seen as obstructionist?
No, listen, we presented a plan that was smarter, that was simpler, where we applied the analysis of President Obama's economic folks themselves, which said, this analysis said that our plan created twice as many jobs at half the cost. I mean, let's be realistic here. We've got trillions upon trillions of dollars adding to our deficit and our long-term debt now each and every month we proceed. At some point, I think the people of this country are beginning to understand who is going to pay for all of this. Money doesn't come out of anywhere, of nowhere. And if you look at the bill that was put together, it was brought to the floor after a couple couple of hours having just been printed. No one, not one member of the Senate, not one member of the House was able to read the bill. And I believe the public's got a right to know. So the fashion in which this plan was put together by Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Leader Harry Reid was just unacceptable.
All right, Congressman, we have to leave it there. Eric Cantor, I'm sorry, we're out of time. Thank you for taking the time this morning.
Thanks, Maggie.